Direct from the broskination headquarters in Los Angeles, California, this is the Broski Report with your host, Brittany Broski.
Hello and welcome back to another fucking episode of the Broski Report. Guys, been going through it, okay? Won't even try to sit here and lie to you. Been going through it. Every woman in my life, we've been talking about how the moon and the sun are like having a domestic spat. I really don't know what's going on. You astrology bitches, you have got to explain it to me. Because it's Mercury retrograde, but that shit happens like 17 times a year. I don't know. I don't know about Mercury, okay? Mercury has to do some really intensive therapy. And I don't just mean therapy. I mean like cognitive, behavioral therapy. We got to get Mercury like in PT, okay? We got to get Mercury in one of those pools where old people are like in pools. Man, some really intensive mental and physical therapy is needed because what the fuck is going on? I know it's Leo season. Guys, figure that shit out, okay? Figure that shit out. I don't know what's happening. I feel psychotic. I feel insane. I feel nutso, banoodles, bonkers in the membrane. Like, how else do you describe it? Because mania doesn't even begin to cover it. I could cry at the drop of a hat. Okay, you look at me funny and I'm going to burst into tears and piss is going to run down my leg. I really, really don't know what's going on. I called my mom and she was like, about the retrograde. And I was like, let's Google it. What is a retrograde? When a planet appears to stop and reverse direction in the night sky as seen from Earth. This is an optical illusion that occurs when two objects orbit in the same direction, but at different speeds. For example, if you walk faster than a friend who's walking next to you, they may appear to move backward relative to you. Oh, got it. Even though they're still walking forward. This is similar to how planets appear to move backward when they lap Earth. Okay, now, what does that have to do with me and my period? Okay, so what does this have to do with the wolves howling to the newborn moon? Okay, so got it. But in here, is that why I'm horny and crying all the time? So Google, is that a part of retrograde? Y'all want to know this crazy shit I learned about alpha wolves? Alpha males. Okay, listen to this. There is this incredible professor that I follow on TikTok. Well, his lectures come across my page. His name is Dr. Roy Casagrande. Okay? And don't quote me on that, but I believe that's his name. Okay, so Dr. Roy Casagrande, I get his clips all the time. I think he's incredible. He posted this lecture that he did about how this whole conversation around like alpha males, alpha females, alpha whatever, and sigma, beta, gamma, whatever the fuck, is completely misguided. The research is misguided because all this, okay, I'm just going to summarize basically what this lecture said. The research done on wolves for, how there's an alpha male and there's packs and there's the leader and there's whatever. And then there's gammas who are excluded. They're exiled from the pack. All of this research was done on wolves in captivity. And what that means essentially is that all of these wolves that are of different regions, they speak technically different wolf languages, have been pulled from all of these different regions of the world and placed into captivity. And any research done on the sort of pack mentality was done on these wolves, which is naturally inconsistent with what would happen out in the wild. Now, in this weird, like, makeshift pack thing that happens in captivity, of course, an alpha male is established, and all the other wolves are subservient to this alpha male. And then there's the gammas who are exiled. In nature, packs are families, right? An alpha male and an alpha female are mom and dad. And so what happens in captivity is that the stratified sort of hierarchy of what happens in a wolf pack is fake and it's makeshift and it's not what would happen naturally. In nature, any of the subservient, quote unquote, I say that in quotes, wolves are the pack's children, okay? And there's also such thing as forgiveness and love within the wolf community. And also, the furry community is beautifully based off. The furry community is very scientifically accurate. So when this happens in nature, there are, first of all, to say an alpha male and an alpha female, because it's 50-50. There is not a patriarchy or a matriarchy within wolves. And so this weird shift that the internet has taken, or scientifically we think this to be true and accurate and real, of like, there needs to be an alpha male. All of this is just language of the patriarchy, by the way. It's based on research that is not accurate. Okay? So Dr. Roy was lecturing about this, and I found it so interesting because everything we know, quote unquote, about what an alpha means is sort of incorrect. And it's given power to this sort of controlling patriarchal language of a woman, even as it ties into religion, of like a woman is made from Adam's rib. When it's like, what are we taking that to mean? We're taking that to mean women are less than men. We're taking that to mean that an alpha male is the true pinnacle of society, which is not true. So I just find that so interesting. What's that called when it's like, is it a faux pas? Is that the technical term for it? An embarrassing or tactless act for a mark in a social situation. Okay, no, so that's not a faux pas. I'm thinking of something where like, it's based on a miscommunication or a misdirection or misinformation, and then a stereotype, or it's just widely accepted when it's not even true and accurate. So I found that very interesting. And he does a lot of lecture series on things like that, of just, here's some things in human history that we've gotten wrong. Another one, this is completely unrelated, other than it's the fact that it's Dr. Roy Casagrande, is he gave this whole lecture on the Byzantine Empire. And I know a lot of you guys are going to think about what I'm saying and say, hey, shut up. Can you make some jokes about wanting to climb Aaron Taylor Johnson like a tree? And to that I say, yes, give me a minute. But going back to the Byzantine Empire for a second. Okay, but quickly, before I get to Aaron Taylor Johnson, we're going to go back to the Mongolian Empire just for a second. Hear me out. He did this whole lecture series on the Byzantine Empire and how it's the foundation for a lot of societal norms as we know them today. And historians in the comments argue with me. I'd love to learn. But essentially, he is such a wide... I always talk about this, of like wanting to be a Renaissance woman, okay? About wanting to know a baseline level of knowledge about everything. And how maybe it's gifted and talented burnout of... I get frustrated at myself when I can't do that. When you go through school and you go through life... This is my experience. Some of y'all can relate to this. Of school is your thing. School is your thing, and you're good at school, and you're very smart, and you have the grades to show for it. And you're sort of forced to do that when, you're not the most gorgeous one out of the pack, or you're not the most popular one. But all that to say, I want to reach a point in my life where I have a baseline level of knowledge about damn near everything. And I really have been toying with this idea of going back to school. My life is very enriched. I have friendships and family and things that feed me and feed my soul. And I want to equally feed my knowledge and my intelligence. And I hope that the older I get, not only the wiser will I get, but the more informed I'll get. And that is a conscious effort, because you have to seek that out at a certain level of internet usage, because you will be fed what the algorithm chooses to feed you. And you have to make a concerted and conscientious effort to redirect your attention and your effort. But Bo Burnham has this beautiful thing of he said in an interview somewhere that our attention has been colonized. Our attention spans have been colonized, and it's the new form of currency, is where is your attention going? And that oftentimes is more valuable than money. So be very hyper aware of where and what you're giving your attention to, not only your free time, that sort of attention, but also your emotional attention. Are you feeding your soul and your spirit with things that are making you better, are making you smarter, are making you wiser, are making you a better friend, a better partner, a better daughter, son, brother, sister, all these things? Are you really giving that area of your life what it deserves? And if the answer is maybe not, then maybe seek something out today that you wish you knew more about, or an area of your life where you wish you were a little better in that. I think that's a conscious decision that we can make every single day. In that vein, because what the fuck am I talking about? I'll get there eventually. Hold on. Let me loop back. Back to the Mercury retrograde. I've been feeling very out of my body recently. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to this. At the same time, I feel very out of my body of like I'm watching my life go by, sitting on the sidelines sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm so deep in my head. I am so buried deep in my own brain that I can't escape. Hey guys, welcome back to the Broski Report. I'm locked in the fucking prison of my own brain. We're getting to Aaron Taylor Johnson in a second. Just stay with me. I've been feeling like that a lot. And it feels like wherever I go, I will be there. And I'm trying to like escape my own brain and I fucking can't. And maybe I'm going to cry. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I just feel, I truly, the only word that makes sense is manic. I feel manic. And I don't know if it's the stars fucking each other or if it's, I need to get my hormone panel done or I don't know what's going on. But through all of this, I'm trying to go back and find what in my life makes me feel good about myself and what gives me a goal and a purpose. Because as much as I love this job and I love doing this podcast and I love Royal Court and I love hosting things and I love, social media when it's good, I feel so burnt out. And it happens and I'll get over it. I'll get through it. And I know that that's not like, y'all don't want to hear that. But when I'm pushing myself to a point of I don't really have much left to give, I come back to myself in these moments where I'm just looking at myself in the mirror and I'm thinking, what makes you feel good about you? And the honest to God truth is feeling smart. I mean, we all like to feel smart, but for me, I put a lot of emphasis on, am I feeding my brain in a way that is culturally impactful? And so, through the very inspired by Dr. Roy, I downloaded this app called Nibble. And this is not a paid fucking whatever. I kept getting ads for it. And it was like, tired of mindlessly scrolling? Tired of doom scrolling about Brad Summer and Kamala Harris? Well, you're going to want to download it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I just do it. And of course you have to pay for it. And I think it's like $4.99 a month, something like that. I bought it. And it's just these little mini lessons. And you can go through and pick all the different like areas of study or disciplines that you want to learn more about. And so I did it and I went through and I'm a very, I believe it's right-brained. Yeah. I'm very right-brained versus left-brained. The right side of the brain is responsible for a variety of functions, including spatial abilities, face recognition, visual imagery, music awareness, artistic skills, creativity, imagination, and intuition. I also believe that, where like one side of the brain is more math and science and one side is more like history and literature. Am I completely making that up? Which side of the brain is math? The left parietal region of the brain is involved in more precise numerical operations like addition and subtraction. The left hemisphere also has an advantage for tasks like counting and reciting multiplication tables. The right parietal region of the brain is involved in basic quantity processing, like gauging relative amounts of objects. Okay, so yeah, right is a little more logical, left is a little more analytical. Is that right? In reality, both sides of the brain work together, and stronger skills result from the two hemispheres working well together. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm a right brain type of person, okay? The right side of my brain is a more swollen and oozing than the left side. The left side's frail. It's shaking. It's gray, okay? It's got varicose veins. It's in a constant state of sort of anxiety. The right side of my brain, again, swollen, bright red, stinks, very stinky. There's stink lines coming off of it. I've always veered more towards history, literature, language, creativity, art, than I have math and science. And in fact, I notice it in the friends I keep around because they feed that side of me. I don't really have a lot of like analytical, scientific, mathematical friends. And I think it shows. I think it really, really shows. I find it very hard to relate to those type of people. I don't know why. I think it's a personality thing. But it's also, I truly have always struggled with understanding that. Like I barely, I made straight B's in math and science. I just didn't fucking care about it. I found it very hard to understand. Meanwhile, English and British literature and poetry and history, I always found way easier to grasp and to internalize and to be able to teach. If you ask me to teach math, girl, it's like the orb of confusion from SpongeBob. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. Summer is officially here, and you have got to leave your house. I'm begging you. We're all worried about you. Seriously, just pick up the phone so I can tell you about my special hookup from today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Everyone can use my code BROSKI10 and get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek. Whether you're a new customer or not, sports, concerts, festivals, you name it, they got it. There are so many artists touring right now, including Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, Tate McRae, Pitbull, Noah Kahan, and SeatGeek has got you covered. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. No matter how many times you've bought tickets using SeatGeek before, Broski10 is going to get you another 10% off your next order. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and add code Broski10 to your account. What are you waiting for? Do it now, because this offer is only valid for a limited time. This episode is sponsored by Rocket Money. Do y'all have subscriptions you forgot about? Then you're just like me for real, and I feel compelled to introduce you to Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. With Rocket Money, I have full control over all my subscriptions and a clear view of my expenses. I can see all my subscriptions in one place, and if I see something I don't want, Rocket Money can help me cancel it with a few taps. I like how the dashboard shows me this month's spending compared to last month so I can track my spending habits. Come on, guys. We're responsible adults. Plus, they'll help me create a custom budget and keep my spending on track. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you by up to 20%. All you got to do is submit a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They'll deal with customer service for you. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's features. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/BroskiReport. And I said, that's rocketmoney.com/BroskiReport. Please, Lord, rocketmoney.com/BroskiReport. So, all that to say, in this app, you can go through and select all the things that you're interested in that you want to focus more on. And I went through and I picked philosophy, which is something I've always, I act like I know a lot about philosophy. I'm lying. Would you imagine I come on the internet and lie for money, for cash? I lie for cash on Mark Zuckerberg's internet. History, I would love to learn more about because I feel like I have such an American education when it comes to history. I have such an American individualistic mindset when it comes to history. And that's another thing why when I had my little World War I hyperfixation and then coincidentally and subsequently World War II hyperfixation, it's always told through this lens of, America is the savior, which objectively might be true. But I want to hold space for that to not be true, especially in the cases of like Vietnam War, the Korean War, where it's like, maybe the acts of America are not always defendable. You know what I mean? And we're taught that is the case. This back-to-back World War champion sort of thing, that we're taught to herald that mentality and keep that as a deep-seated belief that American nationalism and pride and patriotism are parts of being educated. And it takes a conscientious effort to double to second guess that and be like, am I severely limiting my understanding of the world and world events and world history by holding that belief? So I'm working through that. Philosophy has always intrigued me because I'm on that side of TikTok or fucking whatever. Me and Stanley joke about this all the time of like, one must imagine Sisyphus, and, you know, we make Kafka jokes and Dostoevsky and all of these famous philosophers and authors that were so influential. But at the core of it, you know, I only know it from a meme standpoint. And I want to change that. Because the most impressive comics and the most impressive, charming, charismatic people you meet are the absolute smartest people you'll ever meet as well. Because it takes a lot of brain mass to be that fucking stupid. And I believe that to my core. There is a reason, and like I really am not looking to argue about this, that Robin Williams is one of the funniest men, if not the funniest man to ever walk the planet. He was so smart. To be that quick, to be that, have that many references, and to be able to accurately sort of embody and dispel those. It was just it's a marvel. There will never be another Robin Williams ever. And I'm not saying that I'm aspiring to be a Robin Williams, but those sort of people are to me all I could ever want to be. And to be that way, I mean, even like with Caleb Earon, I love him to goddamn death. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And not just smart of the head, but of the heart as well. He is so emotionally intelligent. He is so fair and balanced, and he leads with love. And I look up to him so much. I mean, it's not the first time I've said it. So all that to say, this app, you can go through and pick, you know, philosophy, whatever you want to study. And they explain it in a way that I think sometimes can be incredibly reductive. Like I would like a little bit more detail in how they're explaining some things to me. But, you know, that's what Wikipedia is for, I fucking guess. And so I went through, I did philosophy, I did history, I did literature, I did Greek mythology, I did language. And I've only done a few lessons, and the first one that I did was in Greek mythology of the Titans and of some of the initial Greek gods and goddesses. And I don't know that much about, because this is a whole separate issue of Greek and Roman gods and how they stole from each other. And I don't remember who stole from who. I believe the Romans stole from the Greeks. But it's so interesting because then you start thinking of, okay, well, what do I know about Greek mythology? And can I level with you really quick? Percy Jackson. Okay. How about this? Red Rising. How about this? What's that fucking animated? Come on. Loreolympus. What do you bitches know about Loreolympus? Loreolympus? Oh my god! You are joking. Loreolympus is a romance webcomic created by New Zealand artist Rachel Smythe. Mr. Smythe! Mr. Smythe! What's that from? Peter Pan? Mr. Smythe! Mr. Smith, Peter Pan. Mr. Smee! Oh my god, if that ain't me. Mr. Smee! Alright. Peter Pan used to freak me out as a kid. Anyway, Loreolympus, this is a dramatic retelling in the most beautiful, original illustration style that was a comic. It was a comic that I used to scroll when was this? 2018? I used to read it on my phone because it was on an app and you would scroll, and I was waiting for her to update it weekly. And she had this paywall feature that you could subscribe to, and you would get the next chapter for free. Or you would get the next chapter before anyone else did. And I was like, it was worth every fucking penny. I was addicted to Loreolympus, dude. And I went to Box Lunch one time, which is this like shop in the mall. I think they have them some places. It's like a fandom shop. And I was just scrolling, you know, they have like Adventure Time and SpongeBob and that sort of thing, like a bunch of anime stuff. And I'm going through the t-shirts and I see a t-shirt for Loreolympus. I literally squealed like a hog in the store because I didn't know other people knew about loreolympus. I had no damn clue. Loreolympus was very formative to me. Okay, I was probably 22, 21, 22. Holy shit. I need to go back and because I think she finished it. Yeah, look at this, season 3, episode 280. What are you talking about? Webtoon. There was this version of Wattpad where it was like an indefinite sort of scroll, and she hand draws all of them. Oh, it's so beautiful. And so basically loreolympus is it's based on the Greek myth of Hades and Persephone, it's technically called the rape of Persephone, where Hades steals Persephone and takes her down to the underworld. And it's this sort of Stockholm syndrome type of thing. However, the way that Mrs. Smith tells the story it's a romance. And it's not so much that, it's more so this like, oh my God, I have to reread Lore Olympus. It's so good. Oh, look at this rating, 9.59 stars on Webtoon. Yeah, you bet your fucking ass. It's almost a 10 out of 10. It is so good. I cannot recommend this more. The story is, and I don't know what this trope is, but it's essentially, he becomes her like savior a little bit. Like she always finds herself in his arms and he's there, but it's also this weird we can't be together sort of thing where Hades is this cool businessman in the underworld and he's like, yeah, I don't get attached, sweetheart, like smoking on a cigarette. He's a business guy. And she's this little, garden nymph fucking. What is Persephone? Persephone's there's a name for it. Fertility or something like that. Multiple, Persephone is the goddess of spring and the queen of the underworld, period. She's the daughter of Zeus, the chief god, and Demeter, which I believe that's how you say it. Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and the wife of Hades, the king of the underworld. Persephone is also known as Kore. Okay. Her most well-known myth is her abduction by Hades, her father's brother, while she was picking flowers in the Vale of Nysa. In the Eleusinian mysteries, Persephone's return from the underworld each spring symbolizes immortality. She's also associated with the Thesmorphia festival and appears frequently in Greek art and literature. Okay, so period. Well-known myth is her abduction by Hades. Yeah, so she deals with like fertility and flowers is her thing. And so of course, when you're retelling it as a romance, it's this beautiful dichotomy, this juxtaposition of Hades being blue and aggressively masculine and cold and like, he was banished to the underworld. And then here's Persephone, who is joy embodied, who is joy personified. And she represents life and immortality and birth and Mother Nature. And so them two together, it's this whole like, what the fuck is that called? It's a trope in a lot of fan fictions of like, the only person that can get him to lighten up is her. Like grumpy and you know what I'm talking about, dude? Come on! It's that. So, I love this story is so well done. The dialogue's great. The way that the pacing is great. You get introduced to a lot of, again, coming back to Greek mythology, this is how I learned about a lot of the characters, a lot of the players in the classic Greek myths is the way the Lore Olympus described them. Okay. And what, are you mad at me for that? And guess what? If I say Hercules as well, if I cite Disney's Hercules as a main reason that I know a lot about Greek mythology, well, I wouldn't say a lot, a baseline, it's just so good, dude. I can't, this is the way to do it. You take a classic story and you reimagine it in a way that is palatable and interesting and innovative for, I wouldn't even call this Gen Z. I would just call it like the internet generation. Like it's so fun to read versus, I have to like read the actual shit. No, I need to read it like a fan fiction, enemies to lovers. Will they, won't they? Dude. Okay, and here's another one in the vein of like love and romance in classic Greek mythology. Orpheus and Eurydice. I know that Hosier sings about them a lot. And I think, and I'm going to fact check this in a second, but let me just off the dome. I believe that Orpheus and Eurydice, their story is Eurydice gets captured and like dragged down to hell or something like that. And Orpheus is granted the ability to go down and retrieve her as long as he does not look back. I believe that's it. And so they get up to, you know, the mortal realm or fucking whatever, out of the underworld, and he looks back. And then I think she's doomed to go back forever. I think that's it. So let's go ahead and Google it. And if I got that right, I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. The ancient legend of Orpheus and Eurydice concerns the fateful love of Orpheus for the beautiful Eurydice. Shortly after his marriage to the nymph Eurydice, the newlyweds are cruelly parted when she dies after being bitten by a viper. Filled with grief, Orpheus cannot accept the loss of his adored bride, and he decides to journey to the underworld to bring her back. His musical gifts charm Cerberus, the three-headed dog who guards the gate. And now I also know him from Hercules. Come on! Hercules, Cerberus, Disney. Yes, dude, this scared the fuck out of me as a kid. The three-headed dog that guards, and also in loreolympus, she draws the three-headed dog, but he's adorable. Hades tells Orpheus that he can take Eurydice back with him under one condition. She must follow behind him as they emerge from the underworld, and he must not turn to look at her. I'm so fucking smart, dude. Overjoyed at being set this simple task, Orpheus thanks the gods and begins his ascent. But, unable to hear Eurydice's footsteps, he starts to fear that Hades has fooled him. As he nears the exit from the underworld, he turns to see Eurydice behind him, and she is trapped forever. Devastated by this final separation and unable to return to the underworld himself, Orpheus plays a mourning song on his lyre and is torn to pieces by a band of maenads. He's torn to pieces by a band of gonads. Female followers of the god Dionysus. Why couldn't they have just written this shit in English? Why do they have to write it in Greek? Why can't it be in fucking English? Why can't his name be Derek? His head remains intact and continues to sing as it floats off on the waters. What the fuck? Yeah, that's nuts. I cannot believe I remembered that. I didn't remember that she got bit by a viper and died. I didn't know about that. But yeah, this thing, and it also goes to show a striking similarity between the story of Job, if you know the story of Job from the Bible. Story of Job. It's this weird thing of religion and like trusting the gods, trusting the powers that be, that if you are pious and you are faithful and you are trusting of this divine power, that everything's going to work out for you. But if you doubt it, then that's when shit goes awry. Job is a central figure of the book of Job in the Bible. Job is presented as a good and prosperous family man who is suddenly beset with horrendous disasters that take away all he holds dear, a scenario intended to test Job's faith in God. A wealthy man chosen for a test by God. Yeah, that's nuts. And so essentially, it's these stories of testing your faith. I'm not sure with the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, what is the lesson? Is the lesson... I also don't know if Greek mythology is lesson-based. I don't know if you are supposed to learn things from Greek mythology or if it's just great storytelling. If it's just a great damn story. What is the lesson from Orpheus and Eurydice? Okay, yeah. The moral is to be patient and keep one's faith. Do not doubt word of a respected person that shows you mercy. Huh. This episode is sponsored by Shopify. Name some comedy duos who got it done. Key and Peele, Faye and Polar, Rhett and Link. What about the perfect duo when it comes to growing your business? That's going to be you and Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your own shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, up to 36% better compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and they're the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/broski, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/broski now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/broski. Okay, so that was Orpheus and Eurydice. This is Hades and Persephone. Their love is marked by maturity, compromise, and a sense of realism, born out of their long, complicated history. And I think that is beautiful. Y'all, I'm not joking. You need to download Webtoon right fucking now and read this book. I have never joked about anything in my fucking life. I'm being very serious when I say that. Holy shit. It was so good. I've wanted to see Hadestown, that musical, for a long time. Never got around to it. I'm sure it's great because I love this story. Anyway, Downloaded Nibble was doing Greek mythology. What I learned in Greek mythology is they started us off with in the beginning, okay? In the beginning, there was Uranus, and essentially it was heaven and earth, and they had children, and those were the Titans, okay? Now let's double check my work. Uranus in Greek mythology, or Uranus, what the fuck ever, dude. And Gaia. In Greek mythology, the gods of heaven and earth are Uranus and Gaia, who personify the sky and the earth. Okay? Oh my god, I love this shit. Like, I'm really getting into it. The god of the sky, Uranus, is the son of Gaia and emerged from chaos, along with the mountains and the sea. He is responsible for creating the first life on Earth and is the father of the Titans, Cyclops, Furies, Nymphs, and Aphrodite. However, he despised his children and imprisoned them in Tartarus, a prison deep in the earth. Okay, now, here's where it gets fucking nutso. Is he became jealous of the power that his children had. And so he ate them. He ate his children. Gaia, who I think is his mom and his wife. Okay, Oedipus, what the fuck? Gaia took one child and hid him away so that Uranus could not eat him, okay? And the biggest fear that Uranus had was that one day, one of his children would usurp his power the way that he usurped his father's power, okay? So, the one child that Gaia hid away, his name was Kronos, okay? And Kronos, you might have heard as it pertains to time. I forget, he's the titan of time passing or clocks or fucking something like that. Gaia hid Kronos in an ambush, gave him an adamantine sickle, and when Uranus came to lie with her, Kronos castrated his father. Uranus predicted that Kronos would be overthrown by one of his sons, which eventually came to pass when Zeus defeated Kronos. Okay, so it's this generational thing of usurping your father's power, and I think killing your father. But Zeus and his brothers and sisters then led a 10-year war against the Titans, known as the Titanomachia, and eventually defeated them. Zeus then imprisoned the Titans in a cavity beneath Tartarus, which is basically hell. Okay? Now, there is a very famous painting by Francisco Goya and someone else, I'll find it in a second, of Saturn devouring his sons. There's a very famous painting depicting this that I've talked about before on my YouTube channel, in my video about Francisco Goya. Goya was a Spanish artist who descended into madness in his later years. He suffered from, he was going deaf and blind and just old as fuck, and was so disillusioned with the state of Europe, of where Spain was headed specifically, into this state of censorship and you know, it was the Spanish Inquisition and all these sort of things. He created a painting called Saturn Devouring His Son, which Saturn is the Roman name for Kronos, the Greek Kronos. And it's fucking haunting. Look at this shit. So this is Saturn devouring his son. And again, why did he devour his children? Because he did not want them to become more powerful than him. Okay. And eventually his worst fear came true. There was, I think the rest of the story is Kronos gave him some, or Zeus gave him some potion that made him vomit up all of the other children. Again, this is a myth, fucking whatever. And then that's when the Titanomachia happened. And if you're a Greek mythologist, please, can you come on the podcast? Can you come on the podcast and just talk, and I'm just going to listen and ask questions? I think that'd be fun. Anyway, this is a very famous painting because, yeah, it's gross, dude. And it's haunting. And it's terrifying also. There's another famous one, which I don't know if we can show this. This is Peter Paul Rubens, who also, this is his rendition of Saturn devouring his son. There was this, what is the time period of art where this became very popular? It might be neoclassicism, where it was this obsession with retelling classic Greek myths and Roman mythology. And it was a really popular topic to be painted. It was a really popular topic that a lot of artists were painting. Oh shit, this one is Dante and Virgil that I'm thinking of. You guys are getting the full sort of, okay, my hyperfixations as of late. Y'all are getting this. So if you don't watch the podcast on YouTube, go check it out for visual, or you can just Google the paintings. I'm telling you the titles and the artists, so just look them up. This is stunning in real life. I was in Paris like a month ago, just hanging out before I went for the Olympics, which is a crazy thing to say. And we went to the Musée d'Orsay, which is almost entirely dedicated to Impressionism. And this painting, which I studied this in my art history class in college, but we breezed over it. Standing in front of it was chilling. There are times where I've talked about this before. You go to a museum, you try to imagine yourself in the painting. You know, what does it sound like? What does it smell like? What are you seeing? What if these figures were moving? That sort of thing. This one, I cannot stress. Sometimes it's about how they light the paintings. Sometimes it's about how they've positioned them, like how close you can get to them. This one, you can walk right up to it, and the lighting on it is so... It like froze me in my tracks. The highlights that he used. So this is called Dante and Virgil, and it's from 1850, and it's by William Adolphe Bouguereau. Bouguereau, okay? William Adolphe Bouguereau. And this is from, again, Dante and Virgil. This is from Dante's Inferno. And that's what Hosier's most recent album was based on. This painting is fucking nuts, dude. I'm gonna look up the exact context of what is going on here. I took a photo of it, so I'll read it out. But essentially, a lot of the works around this period, to be entered into a salon or an exhibition or whatever of the time, you had to show a mastery of anatomy, of the human body. You had to have an understanding of how does light reflect off of the human body? How do muscles ripple? How do bones, how do faces express that aren't too two-dimensional or too non-realistic? You know what I'm trying to say? And so to be admitted into a lot of these exhibitions, you had to display a great mastery of that sort of artistry. And so here, when we're looking at how the bodies coil and how the curls and the hair happen and the indents and the muscles, even this detail on the hands, it's so impressive in real life. And so we walk straight up to this painting, and I'm floored because at first it's these two nude male figures one is biting the throat of the other one. And then you look above, and it's this scary fucking demon. It's this horrifying, scary demon with an almost human skeletal face. And then these beautiful, just a beautiful Roman side profile here. And so let me read what this painting is about, because just at first glance, artistically, it is so impressive. Technically speaking, it's very impressive. But then let me read the context. In the Inferno, the medieval Florentine poet Dante describes his visit to the underworld with the Roman poet Virgil. In the 8th circle of hell, they witness a fight between two of the damned, one biting the other by the throat. As a young painter keen to make a name for himself at the Salon of 1851, William Bouguereau chose this subject to showcase his mastery of the male nude. The extreme tension of the bodies of the damned contrasts with the immobility of Dante and Virgil, petrified with fear in the background. So, going back, we've got the Florentine poet Dante and the Roman poet Virgil. So that's these two figures back here. And it's just so, when you look at art through that lens of this artist was trying to prove himself, was trying to prove like, yeah, I got it like that. It's so amazing. It's just amazing. I love art history, bro. How did I get talking about this? Oh, Saturn devouring your sun. Oh, in that vein, I was talking about, it's a similar sort of subject matter. Going back to the Titans, of course. Oh my God, and to go back to loreolympus for a second, there's this crazy part. When around the time that I stopped reading because life, and she wasn't updating fast enough. But now that I know it's complete, I have to go back and reread it. Fucking season 3, episode 280. What the hell? And I'll read every single chapter. I don't give a fuck. Sometimes they had music. Okay. She would put little music on there. It was just amazing. It was an incredible reading experience. There's this crazy scene towards the end where it's like a court case. What? It's like a court case. I remember that. Like, there's this part where Hades and Persephone aren't allowed to see each other, but they can briefly see each other in this little room, like right before a court hearing. It was crazy. I was so invested. I have to go back and read it. And her body T, of course, the way she drew, I literally was like, how do I dress like Persephone? How do I dress? Okay, aesthetic alert. Persephone. Core, if you will. What the fuck else was I going to talk about? Yeah, so I've been super into that Nibble app. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it to someone who's looking to have like an actual like academic experience, but it definitely is, it gets me interested in something. And the way that it tells it is almost juvenile in nature, which I don't appreciate sometimes, but it's easy to follow. It makes you feel accomplished. What I wish there was more of is more quizzes. The way that I learn is through failure, is that if I'm being quizzed on something and I get it wrong, best believe I'll remember that shit for fucking ever, because I don't like being wrong. And I don't like missing that sort of thing. So anyway, it's good for now. And I've learned they do logic stuff on there too. Minecraft zombie. Yeah, I don't like that shit, dude. I don't like logical. I just don't get it. Then maybe it shows. It was the same thing in math, where like a mathematical proof. I'm like, okay, why do we need to prove it? It just is. This shit's dumb as fuck, bro. Just do it. I don't really enjoy the logic side of it. I enjoy learning about logical fallacies, about an arguments, and like red herrings and things like that, and straw man fallacies and whatever. I find that very interesting, because when you learn about it, you can start to pick up on it, and it makes you a better communicator. But logic, just in general, is very like, what do we do? I get annoyed because you're making it overly complicated. So I've been learning about philosophy, Greek mythology, learned a little bit about, no, that's pretty much it, isn't it? Damn. Let's do my songs of the week. You want to know the next bullet point I had in my notes? Is arc reactor technology feasible? Okay, is Iron Man real? Okay, sorry to be that guy, but is Spider-Man actually real? Okay, we'll get into the arc reactor next time. My songs of the week. Who the fuck is the Dare, dude? I love the Dare. Who is bro? He was like hanging out with Charlie XCX and Billie Eilish. I know, I love him. It's that sort of energy of like, I'm doing drugs, I'm fucking girls. Except he's American, he's not even British. He's got a song called Perfume that I could not get enough of. It's from Paris too. It's so good. I just crank it full volume, drive down the highway, windows down. Okay, I've got sunglasses on, and he's da da. It's my perfume. Okay, love that. Been loving that vibe recently. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Erotic Electronic by Slayyyter. Erotic Electronic by Slayyyter. Fuck off, dude. Fuck off. It's so good. That whole Starfucker by Slayyyter. Come on. Miss Belladonna. My bag is Prada. She's so fucking good. Have you ever seen Slayyyter live? Diva. My third song is also Tear Me Open by Slayyyter. Come on. And then fourth, I'm back on my Harry bullshit. I'm back on my Harrystyles bullshit, and I'm sorry. Whatever the fuck is happening in the universe, it's making me want to, like, I have to curl into myself. Like when you spray hairspray on a spider and its legs just sort of curl. That's how I feel. The universe is spraying hairspray on my 6-8 legs. 6 to 8 legs, because I don't know if an arachnid has... I don't know if arachnids have 8 legs or 6, dude. Sometimes I can't count it. They're moving so fast, okay? I've been back on my Harry bullshit. So for my fourth one, I'm just going to go ahead and slap all of Fine Line on there with a heavy, heavy emphasis on Sunflower Volume 6 and Canyon Moon. Those have always been my 2 favorite songs. I do love She, and I do love Woman. Okay, and from Harry's house, we're going to go ahead and do Grapejuice. Okay, I've been real into Grapejuice. It was always my favorite song, and it's just these happy ones. Like, I go back to it. I want to get a Grapejuice tattoo someday, because there's an overlap in the imagery of Grapejuice where he says, sitting in the garden, I'm a couple glasses in. And there's a Beatles song, which is I Am the Walrus, where he says, sitting in an English garden waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. Okay, so this imagery of like an English garden, I just need it. I need it bad. Get a tan from standing in the English rain? Yeah, period. So I've always, I want something like that, of that imagery of like English garden something. Okay, are y'all mad? Am I allowed to do that? Were you going to come beat me with sticks and draw and quarter me and like slap me around? Whatever. Okay, I think that'll do it for me this week. Y'all go subscribe to the Royal Court channel. Seriously, is what I really wanted to say, because we've got a YouTube channel for it now. Very exciting Royal Court episodes coming soon when I get my mind right. Okay, just wait on it, because I'm almost there. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want. Broski Report YouTube channel. Subscribe to my normal YouTube channel, Brittany Broski. Rate this podcast 5 stars or else. Register to vote at headcount.org if you are not registered to vote. There is no excuse. If you listen to this podcast and you are American and you are of legal voting age and you are not registered to vote, that's on you. And just know that I'm fucking mad and I'm disappointed. Okay, love you guys. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Oh, and merch. If you want merch, we've got broski.shop. Go get some Broski Report merch and get a moo-moo. Okay, it's summertime. Everyone gooch is sweating. I know you bitches have stinky gooches. I know a lot of y'all have stinky gooches. So take a shower, throw on a moo-moo, let that bitch breathe. Okay, love y'all. Bye-bye.